What would it feel like to be truly, deeply happy, regardless of your circumstances? Did you know that happiness is a choice and not a result? That you can create your life on purpose? Join us now to learn more. This is the Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. And here's your host, mindset coach, and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday. It's Friday. I love Fridays for so many different reasons. Today we have just a beautiful sunny day, which is really, really lovely. And also good timing because we're going to be talking about the January blahs on today's show on how to break free from that energy. So on Time to Rise and Thrive, here's what we do. We talk about your subliminal soundtrack. We talk about getting it working for you rather than against you. And we talk about recognizing your unique beauty, your value, all kinds of yummy stuff about you. Did you know that you're a contribution to this world? You are. You are. All right. So on today's show, we're talking about the January blahs. Now, I am in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm actually in Canada. And I know that this is going to be a little bit different depending on where you are. So if you are in a place where this is actually your summer months, yay you. And maybe this will actually be applicable for you in June or July. I'm not sure. But here's the thing. So we get to this time of year, the holidays are over. The weather is cold. The days are short, all of that kind of stuff. And what can actually happen is we can start to feel really kind of low, really kind of down, and that right. So what do we do when that happens? That is exactly what we're going to go through on our show today. So the subliminal soundtrack, really quickly, so that you'll understand what I'm talking about when I mention it. Subliminal soundtrack is really that loop of messages that plays in the back of your mind all day, every day. It's made up of little bits of information that you've gathered throughout your life. So every conversation you've had, every relationship you've been part of, every lesson you've learned, every single thing, every single experience you've had has given you little bits of information that you have stored back there on that subliminal soundtrack. And we use that information to create our belief systems. So one of the things that I used to talk about sort of as a quick explanation, we're going to throw January in instead of February. I used to talk about this from a perspective of February, but just imagine for a second that you've grown up with a mother who February, January, whatever, this time of year is really tough for them. Really tough. Now, we don't know why, and it doesn't really matter why, but every year they're going through this thing where they're like, oh, Jackie, January's coming. It's the hardest month. This is the hardest month. Now, who knows why she has that belief system? And maybe for her, that's true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true for me, does it? So what if I really enjoy outdoor activities that I can only do in the cold, like outdoor skating or snowmobiling or skiing or any number of other things, right? What if those are things that I really, really enjoy? What if January is a time when I am very productive? What if January is just a really great month for me? So what happens is that when we hear this over and over and over again, especially when we are small children, it's sort of this conditioning thing where we buy into it just because someone we know, love, and trust has shared that opinion with us. So you can bet that at some point in my life, unless I do something about this, I'm going to start to brace, like mid-December, beginning of January, I'm going to start to brace against this really tough month that's coming, and there's nothing I can do about it. Do you see what I'm saying? It will impact how I feel about so many different things. It might even impact how much I enjoy those activities that I really do enjoy. So it's very important for us to get clear on what is going on that subliminal soundtrack and deal with anything that's causing us to not live in alignment, to have limiting beliefs, all kinds of different stuff. The most fascinating thing that I have learned in my work with my clients, in my own work with myself, is that what we believe to be true will be true for us, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. This is so easy to understand because think about social media for a second. You've got somebody puts up a post and maybe they think it's funny or they think it's poignant or they think it's, really hopeful or whatever the case may be. Two people look at this post and have completely different reactions, polarized reactions. This person thinks it's hilarious. This person thinks it's judgmental or offensive. Do you see what I'm saying? Or one feels like, oh, yes, that is absolutely true in my experience. The other person goes, I don't know what you're talking about. So when we have these belief systems, they influence how we receive and process information. It's very important to understand this point. When we have a belief system that says that this thing is really funny, then we're going to react a different way than when we have the belief system of this is offensive, or this is uncomfortable, or I don't like it. So, with this subliminal soundtrack, the really great news is that we can change it. We can change it. We can start to create new messages, new information that challenges the old information, and we can actually shift it into a place where the belief systems actually help us to achieve the things that we want, to achieve the goals that we have. When we feel like we're being sort of stuck in place and we don't really know what is causing it, very often it's something that's going on back there, and we need to get in there and pull it out and look at it. So this is what I do. I absolutely love doing this work. There is not much that makes me a whole lot happier than when I see somebody have that breakthrough, when I see somebody understand that they have a choice in how they're going to be with whatever that information is. And that choice is where their empowerment is. It's so exciting. I love it. You see people light up. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's other stuff going on that we need to take care of. We need to address, we need to heal, whatever it is. But this is what I do. So I'm going to tell you to find me on Facebook at Jackie Mott Mindset and Empowerment Expert, or you can look for me online at www.jackiemott.com. And we are working on a whole bunch of different social media things in the background here. So this is one of the things that I've decided for this year. I need to get better at this social media thing. So we are working on that. Hopefully we're going to have more of that stuff falling into place in the very near future. So let's get on with today's show. So how does this subliminal soundtrack thing affect, how we perceive our blahs, how we perceive like January, right? How does it affect that? So one of the things we've already talked about, we can address this idea that, January is the hardest, longest, whatever month of the year really quickly and really easily. We can break through that one. The blahs can also be a whole different thing, right? So if you believe that you are ruled by your emotions, if you believe that you are at the mercy of anything, it could be the weather, it could be the time of year, it could be anything. When we believe those things, then we will automatically just sort of flow into this, like, this is what the expectations are. This is what I've always done. This is what I'm supposed to do, whatever it is. Okay. But if you believe that there is a natural flow to the world, that there is a natural flow in nature, and that we can also embrace that way of being, what if January could be a really wonderful time to rest? What if it could be a really great time to do those things that maybe you don't have time to do in the summer months? What if it, do you see what I'm saying? So our subliminal soundtrack is what will guide us and direct us on what this means to us and what to do with it, always, always. So on jackiemott.com, there is a free ebook, e-guide, whatever word works for you. It's called 5 Steps to Create a Mindset Wired for Success. It walks you through the steps that we go through in my process. It doesn't give you, all of the yummy goodies that you'll get if you actually were working with me, but it'll give you a really good guideline on how we do this and what we can do to shift these things around. Again, jackiemott.com. You can find me there, contact me through there, send me a message on Facebook, whatever it is, I'm here. So let's talk about this January blah thing. What is it? So I've already talked a little bit about this. The days are short. The weather is cold. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in our neck of the woods, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, that causes us to, spend more time inside. It causes us to uh, just not always feel really great. Now, there is one thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit more in our next segment, but there is a thing called seasonal affective disorder. It's called SAD, and it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm going to give you some tips on what to do about that. I'm going to give you some tips if you don't have that and you're just kind of in that kind of a place. So less sunlight is a big thing. Vitamin D can actually help with that. There are all kinds of supplements out there. You can find yourself things like that. Think about this flow of nature. What happens in nature over the seasons? And again, we're going to go deeper into this when we get into our next segment, but think about that for a second. We have everything goes to sleep in winter, right? Everything goes to sleep. So the trees go to sleep, the plants go to sleep. A lot of animals even are at least less active, if not in complete hibernation mode. And here's another thing that happens in nature is very often babies are born in spring. So we can perceive this from a place of gestation, of resting and getting ready for the birth, for the life that's coming. We can perceive it from that space. And what happens when we do that? There's so much that we could be doing in that space of gestation, of rest and relax and rejuvenate, get ready for the months that are coming, get ready for all of those activities that you enjoy doing. What if we could shift our perception and allow the blahs to just be a little bit low energy? Like, is it I'm really sad and I'm really depressed? And if it is it that sad thing because there are things that you can do about that? Or is it just a matter of I'm a little bit low energy right now? I don't really quite have the get up and go that I normally have. What is it for you? It's really important to actually identify where the cause is, because if it's something medical, there are easy fixes, like don't even require a whole lot of medication sometimes or anything like that. And if you find yourself really getting down, please don't feel like you can't ask for help. It's very, very, very important for us to get past this idea of there's something wrong with us if we can't do it all for ourselves. It's really important for us to get past that. The thing of it is that if we need help and it's out there, then we're actually kind of foolish not to go and find it, aren't we? Right. So go get the help you need. Talk to the people you need to. I mean, right now we're in another lockdown. I hope it's going to be, I think we've got another week maybe or something. And then things are supposed to be opening back up again. And that's the other thing. How much of this is related to circumstances that are completely outside of your control? I mean, the weather is a perfect example. COVID is a perfect example. And I don't know where you are in the world or what kinds of things you are dealing with as far as restrictions go, but there's an isolation that can happen sometimes for us at this time of year, also because of the weather. I'm not running down the road and talking to the people on the street or going and sitting outside with my friends or, all of that kind of stuff at this time of the year. So we are going to head to our first break now. It's a little bit early, but I really want to have time to get into the stuff that I've got for you for the next segment. So you are with us on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott. Stick with us for just a moment, and we're going to continue this conversation about breaking free from the January blahs.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, Join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about the January blahs and how to break free from them. So one of the things we've already talked about, this, the subliminal soundtrack often is sort of to blame when we find ourselves really getting stuck in some of this messaging and those habits and what do you call them, patterns, right? Those patterns that we have for our behavior, our beliefs, so on and so forth. So our belief systems around what does it mean for it to be January can be very important. I used to have friends that used to say that they thought that January and February were the longest months that we had to endure in Canada. And, you know, it's not, I don't want to poo-poo it because there are things, right? Like Kim is my producer today. Her and I were talking just before we started the show. We were talking about shoveling snow. Now, shoveling snow, perfect example. So there are a lot of people out there who perceive shoveling snow as an awful chore. They don't like it, and makes it tough for them to do. I personally actually like it. I like shoveling snow. I know I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo and I own it. So yay. But I really do. I enjoy shoveling snow for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it is a fantastic workout. I've got a really big driveway. I think we've got parking for something like 6 cars or something. And so, and I always do a little bit out into the street because the plow. Yeah. Anyway, so I've got this big driveway and I go out there and, you know, sometimes I do it in stages. Sometimes I do it all at once, but either way, it's a really great workout. So most of the time when I see that there's snow falling, I'm not going into the place, I got to go out and shovel the snow. I don't want to do that. Most of the time I get out there with my shovel and I do my thing. And my Riley is my pup. He's awesome. He loves it when I throw the snow at him. Now, obviously I'm not, obviously I'm throwing the lighter stuff at him or whatever, but he just loves it. If I get a scoop of snow and I toss it at him, then he's, you know, biting at it and stuff like that. So he loves to play in the snow too. He also likes to eat it, which is great. So this is why it's so important for us to understand we can shift the way that we feel about things sometimes just by telling ourselves something different. Just by telling ourselves something different. You know, any other chores that you do, if you can get into a space of, wow, how lucky am I that I actually have a family to take care of? How lucky am I that I have a home to take care of? How lucky am I that I have whatever it is, right? Work to do for clients to pay my bills. How lucky am I? Do you see what I'm saying? So we can shift that like thing by starting to get into a space of gratitude for the things that we have that cause that thing to be required, right? And what if we could do that? What if we could do that about anything? I am here to tell you that we can. And that is why I love working with this stuff so much. So Belief systems are huge. Now, I'm going to tell you, there was a thing that came up for me last week where I just got into this space of, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from Facebook. I'm just not in it. I'm just not into it right now. So, and I'm working on a lot of other things in the background. So I haven't been on Facebook, and I had this moment last week, or it might have been a couple of days actually, where I was saying, yeah, I really should be on there. I really should be doing my videos. I really should be doing my mindful moments. I should be interacting, blah, blah. See what I'm saying? The should. So stop shoulding on yourself. Just stop it. Just stop it. We're going to talk more about that in the next segment. But the shoulding on yourself, it just doesn't help. It does not help you break free of it. It does not help you to, get more excited or more energized or whatever that case may be. So this other thing that I really want to talk about in this particular part is this seasonal affective disorder. Now, this is a real thing. And especially when you are now it doesn't even matter where you are, especially when you are in a place where, the days are shorter, you don't get as much sunlight, or it could be that you live in a place where there's a lot of storms, a lot of rain, a lot of whatever that looks like. When we don't get enough sunlight or we don't get enough vitamin D, that can naturally start to lower our system. So seasonal affective disorder it affects all kinds of stuff for people. It can cause us to go into depression. It can cause us to experience anxiety. It can cause us to have problems with our sleep or our appetite. And that could be either way. Either we're sleeping too much or we're not sleeping enough. We're eating too much or we're not eating enough, whatever those things are. So a few things that you can do if you are someone who notices that when the days are shorter, you are really deeply affected by that. There are so many things. So one of the things is absolutely contact your doctor, because there are things that they can do to help you, or if you have a therapist or whatever it is. Also, light therapy. So one of the things that I do in my home is the space where I work in has lots and lots of windows. So when the sun is shining, I get lots of sunlight in here. I also have one of those, it's just like a little desktop lamp that I can turn on if we go through a period where there's a lot of dark days in a row. I'll turn the lamp on, and it mimics the sunlight. So it gives us sort of that reaction. Now, I have heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I have heard that some people find things like tanning beds are helpful. There are lots of options. If you are in this space, there are lots of options for you to have help and actually break free of at least some, if not all, of those symptoms. One of the things that I really want you to understand is that we are already sort of past the halfway point. In December, we have 21st, 22nd, we have the winter solstice, and the winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. So one of the things that I tell myself is, okay, we're already past the halfway point. The days are getting longer and longer and longer. Every day is getting a little bit longer. And soon we will be through this. Soon we'll be out of the cold weather. Soon we'll be whatever it is. Exercise. Exercise can be a really natural, now whether that's shoveling the lawn or walking your dog or dancing in your home or using videos or going to a gym if you can, it doesn't have to necessarily be strenuous exercise. But when we move our bodies, there are so many good benefits. The endorphins that are naturally created are very good for mood and for sort of mental focus and all of that kind of stuff. We can do laughter yoga. I know. I took a course on laughter yoga a long time ago. And one of the really beautiful things about doing this is, like, we are purposely laughing, even though there's nothing funny. So we are laughing, and it fools our bodies. It causes our bodies to have those endorphin responses and all of that kind of stuff. And it just lightens us up. So see about laughter yoga. It's a wonderful way to go. When you are dealing with these things, so many So many options. If you're someone who's deeply affected by this, there are medications that can help. I'm sure that there are, what do you call them, Facebook groups or whatever they are that probably help with those kinds of things. So, support network. We're going to get into a lot of tips on what you can do in our next segment. So, if you are with us every week, then there's sort of a natural flow to the show every week. In the third segment is when we get into the tips, tricks, steps, whatever it is. And that's where I share the really good stuff. That's where I share the yummy stuff. So stick with us on the show and you will get to that point. You might want to grab yourself a pen and paper because it might be worthy of taking a few notes if you're somebody who's really stuck in this January blah place. So I'm going to share with you one of the, I'm just going to kind of go into it a little bit earlier. We'll dig into it in the next segment. But one of the things that we can do is we have maybe a little bit more time on our hands. And maybe that's one of the problems. Maybe we have too much time on our hands. I don't know. But what I've been working on for the last few weeks, since like just after Christmas, I have a book that's been percolating in the back of my mind for the last couple of years. And some stuff came together for me last year that caused me to be in a space where I felt like, okay, it's time to do this. It's time to do this. So I've been working on writing my book over the last few weeks. And it is such an interesting thing when we have something that we are looking forward to or someplace where we can focus our attention, where we feel like, okay, I'm doing something that's important to me. I'm doing something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm doing something. Do you see what I'm saying? So working on this book has allowed me to sort of channel my focus and my time and get, oh, Kim says a project. Yes, absolutely. And it could be any kind of project. It could be, like maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure if a lot of people like to paint when they have to have the house closed up, but maybe there's some sort of a renovation project that you can work on in your house. I don't know. Any kind of project. Could be artwork, could be crafts, could be building something. I don't know. What do you want to do? What kind of a project would be fun for you that you can bring into your world and use this time? Use this time to do the thing that maybe you wouldn't have time to once you put your garden in, or once the kids are going off to their summertime activities and you're running around like crazy trying to get them where they need to be. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, I really am stuck on this idea of gestation right now. This idea of, okay, so there's something that we're going to birth in the very near future. And when we occupy that kind of a space, oh, it's yummy. It affects everything. It affects how we feel about ourselves. It affects how we perceive the world in general. It might even help with some of this mood stuff, right? When we are looking forward to something, it shifts our energy naturally. It shifts us into this place of, I don't even know, like hope and fulfillment and achievement. There's a thing when you feel like you're working toward something, it makes it easier. It makes it easier when you have this time on your hands. So I know like some people do like painting projects and different things like this. Why not? What is it that you might like to do? What are some fun things that you could bring into your space right now? What are some opportunities that you could create for yourself for an activity or a project or whatever you might like? I know I spent some time, there's a group that I'm part of, and we had our first yearly session yesterday, and we were talking about, okay, so what is your word for this year? And so after that, I actually took out all my supplies, my artsy kind of stuff, and I created a little bit of a vision board that I posted up on the wall right by my desk. So every day, this bright colored thing is right there in front of me. And I remember that that's my word for this year. That's my theme for this year. That's the thing that I'm working toward. So you can do all kinds of different stuff. And when we get into our next segment, I'm going to give you some actual like concrete ideas on what to do with this. So we're going to head to our second break. You are with us on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. When we come back, I'm going to give you some actual tips on what to do about this January blah thing. So stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? Our subliminal soundtrack plays in the back of our minds 24/7. It's filled with everything we've ever learned about money, relationships, body, and sexuality, about every single aspect of our lives. If you don't have what you desire, the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset program may be the very key to changing it all. In this 8-week program, designed by Jackie Mott, you'll learn to replace messages that stop your desires with new ones that not only support you in creating what you truly desire, but expand your life to higher levels of joy and pleasure. Go to phoenixcoach.ca today to sign up and begin creating your life on purpose.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. And you are with me, and this is a good show. This is a really good show. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Today we're talking about breaking free of the January blahs. So one of the things I just mentioned a moment ago was that I'm working on this book. So it's just been sort of percolating back there for the last couple of years. And it's so interesting because I felt this sort of push or drive, or I'm not sure what to call it, years ago to do this. And I wrote a whole bunch of stuff. And then later it was, no, you know what? Now's not the time. Now's not the time. Now is the time. So the book is called, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, but the book is going to be called Believe All Things Are Possible. It is also going to be the name of a program that I'm working on as I'm writing the book. There's going to be all kinds of wonderful, yummy resources. We're going to have master classes. We're going to have mastermind sessions. There's going to be opportunities for one-on-one coaching and hot seats. It's all wonderful. There might even be a retreat. That could be fun. That could be fun because what we believe to be true will be true for us, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. So let's do some work over the next few months. What could we do? What could we do that by the end of 2022, we might have even a little shift? Even a little shift will help us to start down that road of letting ourselves create the thing that we want, recognizing the opportunities that are in front of us that when we don't know they're available to us, we just don't even see them. So stick with me, find me on Facebook, send me an email. It's going to be fantastic. And there will be announcements coming out as I get it all rolled up and put together. So Now we're going to get into these tips and tricks. So if you have not yet gone and grabbed your pen and paper, this might be a really great time. You can also find the recording of the podcast on iHeartRadio, on, I don't even know where we are. We're all over the map. The Binge TV has us. We're on YouTube. We're all over the bloody place. So, or you can go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com, look up Time to Rise and Thrive, or look up Jackie Mott. You will find all of the recordings, and you can go back whenever you want and play this part again so that you can write it down then, if that's more convenient. I don't know. But at any rate, here we go. So the first tip that I have for you on this is rest and recharge. This is the thing. This is the natural flow of nature. Wintertime is the natural time to sort of go within, to keep yourself warm. Kim says she does a lot of creature comfort things in the winter: warm clothes, candles, reading, tea. I do some of those same things, right? Give yourself a break. That's the thing that I want to really have you take away from this part. Give yourself a break. We get caught up in this idea sometimes that, like, we have to grind. We have to work. We have to all of that kind of stuff. And what that can create for us is a real resistance to allowing ourselves the rest and rejuvenation that maybe we need. Maybe we need it. So there's this idea that I heard years ago that sometimes we need to slow down in order to speed up. And that's exactly the thing that we're talking about, isn't it? We slow down, we let ourselves rest. Maybe we have, warm baths, or make the comfort foods, the casseroles, the soups, the whatever, right? We allow ourselves that sort of space, because here's what happens. When we resist that urge, if you're having it, to rest and recharge, it just actually takes more energy from you to resist it than to allow yourself that space, to allow yourself to wrap up in a warm blanket and read a book or watch a show or whatever it is. These things, there's this idea that today has been really in my head, this idea of laziness. Laziness is a thing. It's an attitude. It's an attitude more than it is anything else, in my humble opinion. You are not being lazy by allowing yourself to rest. All right. You're not being lazy by allowing yourself to do those things, to, like I said, wrap up in a nice, I got this really cool sweater thing for Christmas. It's called a comfy. It's like a blanket and a hoodie. Oh my God, I'm living in that thing. I am living in that thing and I'm loving it. So what do you need to do to allow yourself to rest and recharge, rest and rejuvenate, allow for that gestation that is a natural part of this time of the year? So addressing any of those mindsets that are around the lazy bit, very, very, very important. That's our subliminal soundtrack. Okay, that's our subliminal soundtrack. It's very often the stuff that gets stuck there that actually causes us the most trouble is the judgments about ourselves or about other people that say, oh, if I take this weekend and just rest, then that means I'm lazy. That means I should have been doing something. You see what I'm saying? I should have been doing something more productive. Maybe your body's best productive thing right now is nothing at all. Let's just think about that. Let's just think about that for a few minutes. What if the most productive thing that you can do for yourself is allow yourself that time? Then you come back, you're rested, you're rejuvenated, you're ready to go. Do you see what I'm saying? If you resist it and you fight it, then you are wasting your energy fighting it, number one. Number two, you're not going to get that rest and rejuvenation to be able to hit it hard tomorrow or next week or however long this takes. So allow it to happen. Tip number two that I've got for you is planning. You can use this time to plan. Are there things that you would like to do? Would you like to change something on your property? Would you like to? I've got this plan and I've been working on this plan for the last couple of years. Hasn't worked out yet, but it's coming. I want to put a great big garden plot in my backyard. There are a few things that have to happen before I can do that. I want to do that. So what if I planned? What if I planned for the time when I can dig that whole thing? And what do I want it to look like? How do I want it to be? Do I want it to be, lots and lots of veg? Do I want plants in there that are just pretty and flowers? What do I want? What do I want? Plan it. Okay. So take this time to plan it. Is there something with your business, like with me, writing this book and working on, as I'm writing it, putting together a program that will help people to shift their mindset? Is there something like that that you could be working on within your own business? Maybe there's a product that you'd like to create. Maybe there's a different type of service. Maybe you don't have a business yet, but you'd really like to start one. Do you see what I'm saying? So take this time to plan. What does that look like? What would it look like? What do I need to do in order to make that happen? Maybe you need to have a different level of education. So you could be working on taking a course or even investigating the kinds of courses that you might need to take in order to get you to that next level of whatever it is you want to do, a new career, a new type of job, a new type of business, whatever it is. What can you do to use this time of quiet, to study, to create this idea for this thing, to plan something out? That can be a lot of fun. Now, tip number 3, fun, man, joy, laughter. Do the laughter yoga. Try to create opportunities for yourself, if you can, to get together with the people that you love. Maybe you could do a games night. Maybe you could do I don't know, a vision boarding party. You could do a potluck. You could do whatever. What could you do? What could you do to get that one-on-one fun, play, laugh time with people that you enjoy, with your loved ones, with your family members, whatever that is? What could you do for that? Maybe you'd like to dance. Maybe you'd like to learn how to do some certain type of art that you've never done before. Maybe you'd like to paint. Paint nights have become a thing. What do they call them? Like sip and paint, or I don't know. It's a thing. So could you plan one of those and have a few friends over and you pull out the art supplies? What could you do? Think about that. Play, fun, laughter. There is no faster way to break through those blah things and to find something really fun to do. All right. And then, then you're incorporating the planning and you're incorporating so many pieces of this all in one thing, right? So what could you do? What could you do? Self-care. So Kim already was talking a little bit about that. I was talking a little bit about that. The like comfy, and I think that's what my sweater is actually called, the comfy. Wrap yourself up in warm stuff. Make sure that you have those things, that tea, that book, that whatever it is, right? Self-care. Maybe a hot bath is wonderful for you. Maybe some exercise is. Focus on your self-care. Do your best to get the rest that you need and to eat well and all of that kind of stuff. And what if you focused on creating new habits right now? What does it take? Like 27, 28 days, I think, is what I heard, to create a new habit. So why not use this time now to create a new habit? And then that will carry you through the rest of the year. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, this can be an incredibly productive time, even if it's a little bit slower. I know it's mind-blowing, but it's awesome and it's real and you can do it. You can do it. Now, the last one that I'm going to talk about, the last tip that I've got for you, this is actually what I shared on my Mindful Moment video on Facebook this morning. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to think about, allow yourself to daydream. So there's this thing that happens when we are working on manifesting. It's this thing I learned about when I heard people talking about the law of attraction. So there's a bunch of different things involved in the law of attraction, and that's not what I'm talking about right now. Maybe I'll do a show on that sometime. I don't know. But right now, what I'm talking about is the daydream part. So here's where this can really get beneficial. Okay. The first thing is the daydream itself and the enjoyment. So maybe you are going to take a trip somewhere tropical, and you can imagine, the things that you're going to do. Maybe you're going to lay on a hot beach. Maybe you're going to play with other people at doing different activities, swim with the dolphins or whatever it is, go on a cruise. Maybe there's all kinds of things that people could want to do. You could make a thing about maybe, the building of the garden. How's it going to feel when you build that garden? The important piece of this is when we can actually not only involve our minds, but involve our bodies at the same time. So allow yourself to feel how good it's going to feel. For my garden, how good is it going to feel to put that thing together? How good is it going to feel to dig in the dirt? How good is it going to feel to harvest those vegetables and make myself some yummy food? How good is all of that going to feel? Maybe I can taste the yummy tomatoes or whatever, right? So involve your whole body. It's kind of a meditative thing. Involve your whole body. Let yourself dream about it. Let yourself feel it. And if you can, get into that, like, what is it going to sound like? What's it going to taste like? What am I going to smell? All of that kind of stuff. Allow yourself to have that space to do that daydreaming, okay? It is a perfectly okay thing to do. Absolutely okay to do this. And what a great way to put yourself in a different space. What a great way to break through the January blues. All right, my friends, you are with us on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott. It's time for us to go to our last break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up this conversation about breaking through the January blues. Stick with us for just a minute. We'll be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? Our subliminal soundtrack plays in the back of our minds 24/7. It's filled with everything we've ever learned about money, relationships, body, and sexuality, about every single aspect of our lives. If you don't have what you desire, the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset program may be the very key to changing it all. In this 8-week program, designed by Jackie Mott, you'll learn to replace messages that stop your desires with new ones that not only support you in creating what you truly desire, but expand your life to higher levels of joy and pleasure. Go to phoenixcoach.ca today to sign up and begin creating your life on purpose.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to our final segment of today's show. You're with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. Kim just asked me what I was giggling about on the break there. And what I was giggling about is one of the things that I really want to focus on while I have the last few minutes here. I have squirrels all over my yard, and I'm just watching them. They're running and jumping and playing and chasing each other and all that kind of stuff. And it always makes me giggle. So one of the things that I would like to suggest that you consider is that Your perception of life, your perception of everything is what creates your reality. Your perception. So remember, subliminal soundtrack. Your perception is what creates your reality. So I can go through life looking at everything as an obstacle, looking at everything as a challenge, looking at everything as, oh my God, it's going to be so hard, right? And I have a choice. I can also go through life thinking, wow, how magical is this planet? How amazing, how beautiful. Do you see what I'm saying? Your perception. Now, if you're someone who leans toward that, everything's always so hard, maybe you're happy there. And if you are, God love you. God love you. I am a person who leans more in the opposite direction. So you can see there's a sign back here. You can't quite make it out, but it says happiness is not a destination, it is a way of life. You get to choose. You get to choose how you be, how you perceive things, whether you look at the snow as a great big ugly pile of mess that you have to move, or whether you look at the snow as, wow, this is going to be a great workout and I can throw it at my dog and he's going to have fun with it. And, or, even better, what if I could build a snowman with the kids, or, snow angels, or go ice skating, or any number of other things. You get to choose. That is your power place. That is your power place. And sometimes I just choose to have a crappy day. Not feeling so great, don't feel it, I'm out. And that's okay too. It's all good. Choose what works best for you. Choose the perception, the mindset that works best for you. And remember, I am here to help. This is my specialty. This is my thing. My gift is in working through those mindset issues that cause us to get stuck and hung up. I work with people who want to break through. I work with people who want to create more joy, more laughter, more money, more fulfillment, more whatever. I am not even a little bit interested in working with the people that are like, life's too hard. There are people out there that can help you. I'm not the right person for that. God love you. Go find somebody that can help you with that if you want to be helped, or stay in that space. If you want to stay in that space, you get to choose. Do you see what I'm saying? So, my friends, that's really what I wanted to share with you today. Allow yourself to do that resting and rejuvenation. If you're in a space where you can create something new, allow that to be a gestational period. This January quiet, slow, cold, dark, all of that. Allow yourself to turn that into something that's your creative space, your space where you can create that juicy, yummy thing that you've been waiting to create for a while. Isn't that exciting? So, thought to leave you with today. January can be a tough month. It can also be a time when you take advantage of the quieter time to rest, rejuvenate, prepare for the rest of the year. Remember that the warmer weather will be back soon, and take care of you. That's what I've got for you this week, my friends. We will be back next Friday and every other Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11, what is it? 11 Mountain, 10 Pacific, I think is how it works out. You're smart. You can figure that out. Next week's show, I'm excited about. It's called Transformation. Old ways won't open new doors. Oh, this is going to be good. What would you like to transform for yourself? Would you like to transform who you be? Would you like to transform your life? Would you like to transform your body? What would you like to transform? 2022, we are still in the first month of a brand new year. Slate is clear. What do you want to put on it, my friends? What do you want to put on it? So please come back and join me next week. Transformation, old ways won't open new doors. We're talking about how to break free of the old patterns, habits, mindsets, and become the person you need to be in order to achieve what you'd like to achieve. Isn't that exciting? I know. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited to see you again next week. Thank you so very much for sharing your time, your energy, your space with me today. I hope that something that we have talked about has helped you shift something, even just a little bit, to what else might be possible for you. I'm Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. You've been with us on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. See you next week.
Thank you for joining us for Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. Jackie Mott will return next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Have a fantastic week, and remember, it's your time to rise and thrive.